Hello and good morning friends, welcome to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, as you know that we are carrying a series on human resource management and so far we have conducted 6 sessions. In the previous session we discussed on recruitment and selection, and we believe that you might have liked all our lectures on human resource management. So as we always say, keep giving your feedback because your feedback is very important for us. Taking the series forward, today we would be discussing on concept of training and development. I would suggest that this topic, today's lecture, is also going to be very important for all those who are associated with the corporate organizations, or I would say that it would be a key to success to contemporary organizations. So dear friends, I would like to tell you all that for this very discussion we have once again with us in our studios Dr. Namita Rajput. Dr. Namita Rajput is an esteemed professor in Delhi University. She has immense experience in teaching field as well as in the research areas. She takes keen interest in research activities. I would say she is a prolific writer and she is appreciated by the students as well as academicians throughout the country. So dear friends, let's take advantages from her experiences and let's try to grab more and more of knowledge on concept of training and development. Hello ma'am, welcome to the EduSet lecture.
Thank you Gitika. So good morning viewers. Today we have the concept of training and development. This is a very key area of human resource management because after the human resource planning, we understand that how many people we need in an organization to continue with their objectives, accomplishment of the objectives, and continue doing all the activities of the organization. Then we have the job analysis, which tells us about the requirement of the job and the specifications of the job. So now we have recruited the people, we have done the right placement of the people. So now it is the time to give them the training and development. So I'll start with my quote given by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He says that training is expensive, but without training, it is more expensive. So starting with this quote, let us have some backdrop of the concept of training and development. The human resource management is concerned with the planning, procurement, training and development of the personnel for attaining the organizational objectives. And the workforce for this matter has to be transmuted according to the needs of the organization and the market demands, so that they are not able to achieve the objectives but also in a very structured way. Now training is a source of series of programmed behavior in which it helps in bringing a very positive change in the knowledge, skills and the outlook of the personnel. Hence, it is a process that enhances the current level of knowledge so that the employees are equipped to do a higher level of job comprising greater responsibilities and more enrichment. So it brings us in bridging the gap of what skills and the knowledge the worker has at present and what the job demands. So under this backdrop, it is very essential to understand the key concept of the training and development. Now training and development is a very essential activity. Of course, it not only helps us in accomplishing the organizational goal, but all the human resource personnel who have been placed in the organization, they have to exactly transmute it in this regard according to what type of objectives the organization has. So let us have a definitional aspect of the training. Now it's a learning process, it is a task-oriented activity. It helps in giving us a programmed behavior of the personnel. So basically it not only enhances the skills of the employees, but of course they helps in performing their jobs in a very efficient manner. So training requires a great deal of time, effort and the cost to the organization. So the organization should be very cautious when they are designing and planning the training program. So after the training and the designing of the training program has been done, it should be the responsibility of the human resource manager to take the key inputs from the personnel itself. Otherwise, the whole futile activity will be there and there will be no results, because it is very important to understand that what the personnel feel about the training and the program, and is it important for after the training program that there is a substantial and a very important change which you can see before and after the training program has been launched. So the purpose of the requirement of the training should be basically unmistakably recognized, and the methods of the training should be selected according to the needs established. So there's one more concept here which comes in my mind, that when the organizational training program is being devised and accordingly planned, so it is the prime responsibility of the human resource manager to take up a skill mapping of the employees, that what are their present skills and what presently they want for the particular job to be accomplished. So basically here we do the mapping and we try to plug the gaps and give the training accordingly. Because a human resource which has already been trained in a particular concept and giving him a training program is again a zero activity. It would unnecessarily give big cost to the organization and the waste of time and the efforts. So again, this has to be diligently, rationally and very nicely planned. That is the training program. Now let us have a concept of the designing of a training and the development programs. So the first step is basically to understand that who are the trainees. So who are the training is the most important and the vital activity which the human resource manager has to see. The trainees, are they a blue collared workers, or they are a white collared workers, or they are at a higher level or a middle level or a lower level. So you have to identify the needs of the personnel, and accordingly you have to make the organizational training program in this regard. So the first step is you have to identify the trainers, and subsequently in the second step you have to find out who the trainers would be. So the trainers which you select, they must be skilled enough to endorse the training program in an efficient way, so that the purpose for which the training activity has been organized, the basic purpose should be accomplished. So after giving a list of the trainees, you must give a list of the trainers also. So the trainers are definitely of the diverse field, but it should be customized according to the needs of the organization, and they should be selected according to the number of the trainers could be more, even more than one or two. Again, you have to customize and tailor-made your needs of the organizations, the needs of the trainees, and then you have to definitely identify what the trainers would be and in which regard. Then you have to finalize upon what particular methods have to be endorsed to give them the training sessions. It should be off the job, on the job, vestibule training, apprenticeship training, maybe a skill development, or maybe you have to give them some kind of a case study, or you have to play some management games with them. But again, you have to be very specific about the methodology, the pedagogy, and the methods to be adopted in terms of the training and development, because this is very important. And basically, the training program, gives you a lot of cost and the effort. So it has to be again a tailor-made program and completely customized, taking into considerations the type of the training which your trainees require. So definitely the next aspect would be at what level of the training would be needed in the organization. So some people are very deficient in their activities, so to make them efficient and to upgrade their level, you have to decide upon, and taking into consideration that which level of the training has to be given, you have to first map their present skills, and then you have to give them the updations accordingly. Then what principles of the learning has to be adopted so that the results which are obtained after the training program, they are excellent. And the last is where to conduct the program. Now basically when you have to decide upon, that is the place of the training, and most of the organizations, they do on the job and off the job, or the combination of the two. Because if it is on the job training, then of course it helps in optimizing the cost, because you're not supposed to do anything beyond the actual working conditions. But if you decide upon the off the training, you have to have a seminar room or a classroom and the extra equipment and the extra resource person to do and accomplish the organizational training program in this regard. So you have to basically do accordingly. So let us have a recap of what we have done in terms of designing of the training and development program. That is, the first was you have to decide upon what are your trainees, the number of the trainees, what kind of training do they need, and accordingly the second step is you have to find out the type of the trainers which you need to basically plug the gap and increase their efficiency levels, followed by what methods and the pedagogies have to be adopted to endorse the training program to these people, followed by deciding upon their level of training program and what principles of learning have to be adopted by the organization, and the last is where you have to conduct the organizational training program. So let us have some kind of a conceptual background of the training and development. Now, after it is done perfectly, an organization to take an opinion, that is basically after designing the training program, the organization has to take up, that is the designed program in front of the people, that is to whom the training has to be given, that is the trainees. So you have to take their opinion either through a questionnaire or through a structured planned manner, because it is the trainees ultimately who have to make the program successful. So their view is vital in this regard. Followed by the training, you must understand it's an endless process because we are living in a dynamic and an ever-changing world. So now, every now and then, on a click of a button and on a blink of an eye, the technology is changing. So in order to take up with the pace of the changing technologies, this training and the development program has to be an ongoing process. We cannot say that today the training program has been over, so the job of the human resource manager is over. It has to be an enduring activity because it gives us the enduring benefits in the long term of the organizational success and achievements of the organizational goals. And even the current employees in this regard need a kind of a training program, because every now and then, again I say, we are living in a dynamic world. So maybe the corporations have to change their, the modern contemporary organizations have to change their way of working, the pedagogies, the methodologies, the training and development programs have to be basically conducted to equip the present employee also, because they are the ones and they are the big assets for the organization, and they have also a right in this regard that their particular skills must be enhanced. So we have to take care of not only the new incumbents but also the existing employees, because again it is a win-win situation for the organization, because the human are converting into a human resource. Be it a new incumbent, be it an existing employee, both need a good and a customized training program. Now, it develops not only the technical know-how of the organizational, but also employees comes to know what the job demands. So basically, you have to find out as a human resource manager that you have to find out what his present skills are and where he has to go. That is, it basically bridges the gap of where an employee is and where the employee ultimately and eventually wants to go. So the workers in a factory setting must be trained in order to maneuver the machines and the equipments and decrease the scraps and evade accidents. So here I would like to highlight a point that the training and the development is never a wasteful activity for the organization, because once an organizational worker is well equipped with the knowledge and the technical know-how, that is how to use the machines, it is going to be a very beneficial position for the organization, because it is not going to optimize the cost, but also it optimizes the time and the efforts, and it also helps us in evading the accidents. In addition, the lower level workers and the higher level workers both need the training program. So there's a saying that, as was mentioned in the beginning of my lecture, that the training is an expensive activity, but if the training is not given, it becomes even more expensive, because eventually the accidents can take place, some untoward incidents can take place, which can be even a bigger cost if you compare the cost of organizing a training and the development programs in this regard. So the modern contemporary millennium managers understand the need and importance and the significance of the human resource training and development programs. So every organization these days are conducting these programs, whether they send their employees somewhere else for the training and development programs or in-house. These kind of activities are also conducted by them. So in general parlance, if we say that the lower and the middle level people, if they are giving if they are giving some kind of sessions of this type, we call it as a training program. Whereas if this kind of training programs are given to the higher level people or the higher people in hierarchy, we call it as a MDP, that is Management Development Program. Ultimately and eventually the things are the same, but yes, if you concentrate on the concept of the training and development, the difference I would be continuing in the furthering of my this particular lecture. But let me give you a small concept once again, that is, if the lower and the middle level people are giving the kind of a training, we call it as a training program, whereas if this is endorsed to the higher level in the hierarchy, the people, that is the managerial people, we call it as a management development program. So let us have some kind of definitional aspect of the training. So as we have seen in the earlier part of my lecture, that the training is basically giving a kind of a programmed behavior, so that the kind of the skills which are there earlier with the employee, they are even enhanced and they are broadened and they are enriched. So not only this, it also refers to an orderly procedure which the organization follows to improve the performance not only at the individual level but also at the organizational level. Better performance denotes that yes, there is a substantial changes in the skill, approaches, knowledge and the conduct of the employees. So from the above definitions, it is concluded that of course training not only helps in optimizing the cost and the efforts and the resources which are limited for every organization, it also helps in increasing the organizational activities, organizational effectiveness and organizational profitability, if you see the eventual condition after application and the conducting of these programs are concerned. So let us move forward with the difference of the training and development. Training and development too are unlike process, but they are interlinked with each other. So as I mentioned in the earlier part of my lecture, that training is a short-term activity, which is the eventual result is that you are able to take up those skills which has been designed specifically in this regard, whereas the development is a long-term activity, so it not only enhances your capabilities, potentialities, and it is much more broader in concept if you compare with the training program. The scope of the training is very limited and is very limited to a specific job, whereas the scope of the development program is even larger, broader, and the width is so much that eventually the decision making power, the potentialities and the capabilities are actually enhanced after the conducting of this training and development program. So it is a process in which the trainees get an opportunity to learn basically the new skills which are required to do a job. Not only this, it is a process which with you are able to earn more, give more profits to the organization, and it also knows how to complete the job requirements. So basically we have to understand here that when you talk about the training and development, it is an ongoing activity. And it is an unending process because of the dynamism, because of the changing conditions in which the business organizations in the modern era are operating. And nowadays we need these particular training and development programs not only for the new employees and the prospective employees who want to join the organization, but also to the existing employees, because the updations are very, very important these days. Because unless and until they are well equipped with the updated skills, they won't be able to carry on the organization the way they should be carrying on. So some kind of induction program, vestibule training, apprenticeship training, on the job training, off the job training, promotional training, internship training, they are some of the types of the training which the modern contemporary organizations are actually in the application and adoption of these type of techniques. So once you conduct a training program, you can also see the merits by your own concept and the organization in which you are there. So it not only enhances the productivity of the employees, but also it enhances the skills which they are equipped with now. Before the conduct of this training program, they were not well versed and they were not efficient enough to handle those skill based activities, but yes, after the sessions of the training and development, they are well equipped in terms of the skill development. So it also brings a kind of a cooperative environment, and there is a good feeling, a feel good factor amongst the employees also, that the organization is taking care of them and making them more enriched and making them a good asset. So not only this, after the training and development program, they feel motivated, they have self-confidence in them that yes, now they can handle more challenging jobs which are on the way in the future. It also decreases the employee turnover because, in the heart of hearts, they know that these kind of training programs they may or may not get if they join some other organization. And not only this, it also reduces the number of the accidents. Without the training programs, there will be a problem, and to evade the accidents, these sessions have to be given, and the enriched sessions have to be given so that they are well equipped with the pedagogies and the procedure, and in terms of maneuvering the tools and the equipments and the machines which they are supposed to handle. So let us now have the concept of the development. The training for the top level managers, or more appropriately for the managerial personnel, is considered as development and also known as the management or the executive development. It is a systematic ongoing procedure in which the managerial staff learns to enhance their conceptual theoretical knowledge. It also helps the individual to bring the efficiency and effectiveness in their work performance. So we have seen this kind of a definition in the earlier part also, but yes, we have to give more stress on the development also, because it is very important for the organization to train all the employees who are a part and parcel of the organization. That is, we have already talked about the training and what kind of merits and objectives are there in terms of giving the training programs to the top and the middle level people, whereas now we talk about giving the training to the top level people who are basically into the basically the thinking and the planning activities are concerned. So basically, if you give them some kind of management development program, some management game, some kind of case studies, and there are specific pedagogies in this regard to enhance the potentialities and the capabilities of the managerial personnel who are there in the organization. So this kind of training program would already enrich, I mean they are already enriched with, because they are at the managerial level, but this kind of an MDP or the executive development programs would surely help them in increasing the potentialities, in increasing and broadening their theoretical background, and giving them some kind of potential to take more wise decisions in the future. So development is not only limited to the specific task, if you compare this with the training, which is training is basically to give them, some kind of a session for a specific task. But unlike the training, the development is overall increasing the overall potential and the capabilities of the management development people or the executives who are at the higher level of the organization. So basically, after giving the mindset, after giving this kind of a management development program or the executive development programs, there is a sea change in their mindsets. Now they are, having a broader outlook. Now they can take more wise and rational and judgmental decisions. So because they have a particular specific pedagogies in their mind, and they know how to crack a particular situation, some kind of contingent situations which can come any time in the organization. So they would be able to handle these kind of practical problems if the management development and the executive development programs are conducted time and again in the organizations. And of course, we talk about the technology. The technology needs an updation everywhere for any level, for any manpower of the organization, and they need to be basically the updations is a kind of a prerequisite for the success of the organization. So development is a kind of an educational process, and which is an unending process. So eventually the education is imparted to them, some kind of broad concepts are given to them, some kind of assignments are given to them. So it basically digs out their capabilities and potentialities which the managerial staff was inadequate with earlier before the conduct of this kind of a session. So when you talk about the MDPs, that is the management development programs, they can adopt any kind of an activity like mentoring, coaching, job rotation, role playing, case study, conference training, special projects. They are some of the key methods which are adopted by the organizations of today to enhance the potentialities and the capabilities of the managerial personnel. So the major differences between the training and the development. The training is a learning process of the new employees in which they get to know about the key skills required for the job, whereas the development is a training process of the existing employees for their overall round development. Training is a short-term process, basically from 3 to 6 months, whereas the development is a kind of a continuous and an enduring activity which helps us in overall development of the people, that is the managerial personnel in this regard. So basically the training focuses on the skills development, whereas this development focuses on the overall development so that the capabilities and the potentialities are enhanced to the maximum possible extent. Training has got a limited scope. It is specified a job rotation oriented, whereas on the other hand the development is a career oriented and helps in scope is comparatively wider than the training. In training, the trainees get a trainer who instructs them at the time of the training, whereas in contrast to the development in which the manager self-directs himself for the future assignments. In training programs, there are many individuals who collectively attend it, whereas the development is a self-assessment procedure and hence one person himself is responsible for one's own development. So the training and development overall improves the qualitative and the quantitative aspects, whereas the organizational climate, health and safety of employees, the extension of the capabilities, the job performance and the personal growth are the chief purposes of the development. So we have now seen the major differences between the training and development. So let us have a recap of this. The training is a very short-term process, whereas the development is a long-term process. The main orientation and the focus and the nucleus of the training program is basically for the skill development. Whereas if you see in contrast with the development, the overall performance, the overall round development, the decision-making power, the capabilities and the potentials and the overall development of the managerial personnel is the focus of the development. So basically let us have a recap. If we see this particular slide, the meaning is there. It means the training is basically into the learning of the skills and the knowledge for doing a particular job and increases the skills required for a job, whereas the development, it refers to the growth of an employee in all respects. It is most concerned with shaping the attitude. Whereas if we see the aim is for a specific skills of the employees, whereas the overall development is the key aspect of the development. The training is job oriented, whereas development is a career oriented activity with the short term perspective in training and the long term perspective in development. Now, when you talk about the training, it is concerned with maintaining improved current job performance, whereas the development, it builds up the competencies for the future performance. The training focuses on today's need, whereas it focuses on the tomorrow's need, that is the development. So training, as a matter of fact, is task oriented, whereas the development is a skill oriented activity, whereas overall performance of the organization is enhanced. So basically it clarifies your psychological, theoretical, the concepts when you talk about the development, whereas if you talk about the training, it only clarifies your mechanical aspects of the organization. But yes, training and development both are complementary to each other and both must be imparted in a very customized, judgmental, rational way, keeping into considerations the future needs of the organizations, because every organization talks about the development in the future. So if you have a broader vision and if you well equip your employees in terms of the training and development, there is only one thing the organizations would see, that is the success. So we'll break for a minute, and then after the subsequent part of my lecture, I would be talking about the types of the training programs and how the organizations select about it. Thank you so much. Welcome once again. So in this part of the lecture, we would be talking about the objectives of the training and development program. So once the needs of the organizations are identified, the trainees are identified, the trainers are identified, and the level of the training and the particular aspects of training is complete, now it is the time to design a very customized and a tailor-made program for the organizations. So let us now talk about that what can be the objectives owing to which the modern contemporary organizations, they organize such programs. So the first aspect of the objective of the training and development is that it helps in improving the quality of the workforce. A training and development programs, it helps in improving the quality of the work done by the workforce in the organization, and generally the training is imparted in a specific area such as finance, marketing or the HR, which enhances the quality of the work in that specific area and help the employees in attaining a specialization. So basically we talk about the training programs, it overall enhances the quality of the workforce, because earlier before the conducting of this kind of a program there was a deficiency in this regard, and the people who were a part of the organization, they were inadequately they never had a complete knowledge to how to carry on the work and the job which they were supposed to do. So it not only helps in making the quality of the workforce good, it also helps in the employee growth also, because now employee is a better person, he is a resource rather than a human being, because now he knows so many new paradigms and the frontier of the job which was not there earlier before the conduct of the training and the development program. And of course it averts the obsolescence also. So let me clarify what the averting of the obsolescence means. Now for example, an organization is carrying on with a particular job, and the people who were there who were carrying on with the job, now because of the change in the technology, that particular job becomes an obsolete job, because now you have a new technology in front of you. So if you want the job to be continued and the people to be continued, so this kind of an updation and the training program must be given to them, so that the job becomes live and the people also become live in that organization. Not only this, it also helps in assisting the new recruit, because once an organization, the people join the organization, they have to understand the basic culture of the organization, they have to be well equipped in terms of the policies, programs, etc. So some kind of a seminar, lectures, etc. The classroom lectures are also being conducted time and again to help the new recruits and the incumbents to basically understand and have the deep insights of what the organization is all about and what are the policies and the programs and the future endeavors the organization is going to do. So it also helps in planning, bridging the gap between the planning and the implementation aspect of the training and the development programs. And not only this, it also helps in safety and other measures. Why it helps in the safety and other measures? Because you have to maneuver with the very risky machines these days. They are so high technical, the way they are conducted, the way they are operated. So you need to have the updations in terms of the technology which is being adopted in this regard. So the people, if they are given a proper training that how to maneuver the latest machines and the equipments, the number of the accidents would be averted and there will be a safety all around, and basically the health of the human beings are also being taken care of, because there are certain machines which you use, they emit certain harmful chemicals. So how to deal with those chemicals, that particular smoke and the chemical byproducts which are a part of the production and the manufacturing process if the organization is into all these activities. So basically it overall helps in the health and the safety measures, and which can be an only byproduct of a good training and development program in this regard. So now coming on to a very vital aspect of identification of the training and the development needs. So once you have to decide that which particular type of training and development has to be conducted, so there are certain series and the prerequisites behind it. You have to do the kind of the analysis in very deep, so that you have the insights of what particular training and development needs are there for the organization. And once you are able to catch with that point that yes, this is the training program which we need to conduct, then of course the success of the training program would be definitely more. So let us have now see the prerequisites of basically identification of the training and the development program. The first is the organizational analysis. The analysis of the organizational goals and objectives may help in determining the training and development needs of an employee. It is very important to know what the organization wants to accomplish, why the training program is essential to solve the business problems, and to what extent the training program is required. All these questions can be answered only after analyzing the organizational goals and objectives. So let me have a catch of this particular point, that is, once you have to decide on the identification of the training and the development program of the organization, you have to deeply understand that yes, you have to find out what particular goals, equipments, objectives, the end goals, and the last point which the organization has to achieve. And basically the main objective of the organization is only this, that is the organization mission, vision, and the objectives are eventually the parts which you have to finally accomplish. So after analyzing the organizational needs and objectives, you have to design the training program accordingly. The second is the individual analysis. Now basically when you have to conduct the training and the development programs in the organization, you must understand what the individual is there, what kind of an individual is there, who are the participants and the trainers. It also helps in identification of training and development needs. All the questions like who will obtain the training and their best present level of knowledge, who would conduct the training, etc., are need to be answered through proper investigation. So once we talk about the identification of training and development needs, we first spoke about that you have to first analyze the organization in detail, that is we call it as an organizational analysis, in which the goals and objectives are verified and basically analyzed in detail, followed by the individual analysis. Why individual analysis is important? Because you have to understand their present knowledge levels and accordingly you have to give the inputs and enhance their future skills which you are looking for and striving for. So then we have to understand the next level, that is the task analysis. We have to fix up the concepts in relation to what kind of task an individual has to perform, and to perform that particular task, what kind of training and development is needed in this regard. Because certain tasks are very simple, for that the training and development is not required at all. But yes, when the complexities increase, the training analysis and the task analysis becomes a prime thing, so that the organization understands that this is the job and these are the skills which are required to do that particular task. So that is why we do a task analysis, because it also facilitates in identification of the training and the development needs of the organization. The next is your performance analysis. Now you have to see the analysis also helps in identification of the training and the development. Like, there are the employees performing up to the predetermined standards. Can train help to improve the performance of the employees or not? So once you understand that this is the performance level which the organization people have to achieve. So if that level is a lesser level, then of course the need and the significance of the training is less. But yes, if the performance level which you are looking for in the organization is at a very higher level, so to encumber that, to complete that, to plug that gap, you need to organize a kind of a training and development program accordingly. So the performance analysis is also very important in this regard, followed by the content analysis. Content analysis include the analysis of the documents, laws and the process used on the job. This analysis helps in determining what knowledge is required to do a particular job. Such information can be gained from the manual documents and regulations. The content of training should not contradict the job requirement, rather both should be in equilibrium. So only an experienced person can assist in determining the suitable content. So followed by a training suitability analysis. So training suitability analysis is the next point, which also helps us in identification of the training and development needs. This type of analysis also gives us the answers of the following question, like training is desired solution or not. First, training will be effective in this usage or not. Is there any imperative to know whether the developed training program is suitable or not? So these are the prime questions which need an answers, and the answers would only be given by the training and the development. So first you have to understand that whether this particular job or this kind of the job and the task which an organization personnel has to perform, whether this needs a training program or not. So you have to verify and validate this in depth, that yes, we need a training program, and the present workforce is not well equipped with that. So after answering these questions, you can design and customize the program accordingly. Then you have to see the cost and the benefit analysis, which is again very important aspect, because once you conduct the training program, it gives a lot of it takes a lot of efforts in terms of time, in terms of the resources to be used, in terms of the overall expenses of the corporation and the organization. Whereas if you see the eventuality, that is after conduct of this program, is there any good thing which is going to happen? Is there going to increase the productivity of the employees, and is the productivity and the performance and the profitability is to be changed in a very positive way? So these are the questions which you have to analyze in your mind in terms of the cost and the benefit analysis, and then of course you can design accordingly. So let us now discuss the importance of training programs, which is again very important and a crucial and a important part of and substantial part of the modern day corporations. The first is that it helps in increasing the efficiency of the employees, because now they will be having more skills with them, followed by the less supervision. Like if you keep an untrained staff, then of course the time and the efforts would be more, but if you keep a trained staff, you need not supervise them the way you are supervising the untrained staff. So that is why, again, giving on to the importance of the code, the training is expensive, but not giving training is even more expensive, because the losses would be more, the time and the efforts which you have to give on the supervision is also more, and overall it's a loss situation for the organization. So the next is that the next important importance of the training is it helps in less wastage of resources, because the trained staff knows that this is the way they have to use, and this is the type they have to use, and this is the method which they have to follow. So there's a lot of clarity in their mind, that is, yes, which aspects and where to go and how to go about. But yes, the untrained staff would be deficient in this regard. So of course, when you give the training to the personnels, the labor turnover would be even less, because they feel contented, they feel satisfied, they feel motivated, and they feel contented in terms of that, yes, we are now a resource, we are not just the human beings. So taking it further, the training also helps the new employees. The training helps in the new recruit to comprehend what is required from them and supports him to tune with the new environment. So when you see the new incumbents in the organization, they are very alien to the environment, they don't feel comfortable, they don't know how to go about, they don't know how to complete and accomplish the organizational objectives. They always need some kind of an assistant which has to be provided by their supervisors, by their superiors in this regard. So if you want the new incumbents to know and well versed with the organization, you must conduct some good orientation programs for them, some kind of training sessions for them, so they feel very confident, they feel connected, and they feel a part of the organization always. So definitely when you impart the training programs, so it not only increases the performance productivity, decreases the labor turnover, decreases the wastage of the organization, it helps the new incumbents to the organizations, that is the new employees who become a part of the organization. It also improves a very important aspect, that is the union management relationship. You understand that if there is an unrest in the organization, how bad it is for the organization, because the management will always see from their perspective, whereas the employees would always see from their perspectives. So there are some ego clashes, there are some objective clashes. The management always wants the profits and the production in their own way, whereas the employees also want the things to be their own way. So if there is a proper training given to them, it improves the relationship between the industrial relations between the management and the union. So not only this, it also creates a better career opportunities for the employees, because now when you see the job specifications and the requirements in the newspapers, and if you see the advertisements, they understand and they give in detail that we want an individual with this kind of a working experience and with this particular type of the set of skills. So now the individual is well equipped with this kind of a the program and the kind of training which has been given to them. So he becomes a better person with he can take up and grab any kind of a career opportunity in the future endeavors. So it is highly rewarding for the trained employees that they are now able to produce more, they are able to earn more, and the organization will give them even more as the rewards. So they feel motivated, they feel on the high, on the cloud nine, that yes, now they are producing more with the more efficiency levels, so their morals would also be high. And of course it leads to the higher productivity when you talk about the training programs. It not only helps them in motivation and increasing the productivity, it also helps in the better quality of the work, because the type and the pedagogies which they are adopting now after the training sessions is even better, with the less wastage of resources. And of course, if you keep updating your employees in this regard, that is, keep on organizing some or the other kind of training program time and again, this is definitely going to be a win-win situation for the organization as well as for the employees. He would never leave that organization because he sees so many positive things in terms of his own development. So it also helps in addressing the employee weaknesses. It also helps in creating a healthy environment. The training and the development programs helps in building a very healthy environment in the organization, and it builds up a very good industrial relationship so that the individual goals are lined up with the organizational goal. So it also improves the organizational climate and culture in the organization. It also helps in building a positive perception and the feeling about the organization. So we have seen the kind of the benefits which the training program has given. So they are superb and they are excellent to achieve the organizational goals and to take the organizational only on the path of the success, where there is an enhanced productivity and there is an enhanced profitability. So let us now have a gauge on the methods of the training. So basically, when you see this scenario across the globe, we can categorize the methods into two parts: on the job training and the off the job training. So as the name is suggesting, on the job training, we are not taking the employee somewhere else. We are trying to keep him into the actual working conditions, and all the training and the development activities are taught to him or are endorsed to him on the actual working conditions only. Whereas if you see the off the job training, we are taking him to some other room, some lab, some laboratories, some kind of a classroom, some kind of a hall in which the seminars etc. would be conducted. So there are basically the pros and cons of both on the job and the off the job. Which particular type of training you need, you have to customize according to your organization and the present skills which the organizational people or the personals are having with you. So we cannot have one ball fitting to all sizes. We cannot have one solution for all the organizations. All the organizations are different, the personals are different, the kind of knowledge and the base they have is also different. So we cannot customize, we have to customize in this regard, that is the training and the development programs which suits your organization. So taking it forward, let us have now look on the methods of training in detail. First we see the on the job training, and the second is off the job training, and the other category I have put it on the others. So let us see what the on the job training is. On the job training, we have the orientation training. We give them the job instruction training, that is how you have to carry on the job. We have to give them some kind of an apprenticeship training, internship and assistantship training, job rotation and the coaching. So if you talk about these methods, they are all a part and parcel of on the job training. Now we see what are the off the job training. The lecture, the special study, the conferences or discussions, the case study, the role playing, the simulation, the programmed instruction and the laboratory training, they all are part of the job training. Whereas if you see the others are commonly used by any organization. It could be a computer based training, it could be a internet based training, it could be an action learning, job rotation, management games, university related programs and outside seminars. So we have seen in detail the different types of the methods, which method to adopt and which particular way to adopt, again it depends upon the organization. So let us see what the job rotation has to say. And first we are going to start with the on-the-job training. So in the on-the-job training, the first method which we are going to look upon is a job rotation. So in this, the worker is not put on to one method, to one particular position. The job is keeping on, he is shifted from one job to another. There is a job rotation in this regard. So this is the best part of the job rotation, that from back end to front end, he knows each and every aspect of that particular job, and he is able to place himself very well, because he is now well equipped with not only one type of a job, whereas the diverse type of the job. The second is a planned progression. So let me now give you the concept of a planned progression. In this, the particular individual is supposed to understand and do the particular activities which he is supposed to do, but he is given an add-on programs and the activities also, which in future he has to understand and do. That is, he is given a particular set of activities and the assignments, which is now at present not a part of his job assignments, whereas these are the activities in which we are giving some kind of a futuristic approach in this regard. That is, these are the particular tasks which he has to do in the future. So automatically the individual is trained in this regard, and he would be now a better individual, so that he is able to take up those assignments which his superiors are supposed to do. So this is his training period. So coaching and counseling is another method which helps into a real enhancement of an individual. Coaching denotes teaching a job to a subordinate, and the senior person who acts as a coach actually teaches his subordinate regarding how to work. The work must be done, what technique he has to follow, whereas counseling on the other hand handles the situation under the pressure and the stress. The counseling on the other hand refers to guiding the subordinate when he faces any kind of a problem, and the counselor plays an advisory role and does not vigorously teach the employees. The next method is your understudy method. In this, the subordinate is appointed to work under his senior. He takes the orders from his seniors and learns about the decision making from his senior to handle the day-to-day problems. The job will be taken over by the subordinate after the retirement of his senior. So this is an automatic kind of a training which is given to the subordinate, that he is supposed to work completely under a superior, and the superior teaches him the in and outs of the work to be done. So after he retires, or if in some kind of a sickness of the superior, he can straight away take over, because he has been assisting him. He knows the in and outs of the particular job which he was doing with his superior. Then we have another method called as a junior board. So this is again a very fantastic method, in which like we have the board of directors operating at the higher levels, we have a junior board who will actually copy the kind of activities which are done by the senior board. So automatically the junior board who is taking care of the activities which the senior board is supposed to do, so automatically there is a training in this regard, and there is an enhancement of the capabilities and the potentialities regarding the particular jobs which their senior board of directors are doing. So automatically they also understand that these are the activities and these are the performances which he has to do. Then we have coming on to the off the job training. This is again very important. We have the lectures and the conferences. In this we basically give all types of training and development in terms of giving them key lectures and organizing some kind of conferences for them. So in this is again a very good aspect of training and development through lectures and conferences, that you can address so many people together with the lowest possible cost. Some kind of handouts can also be given to them, so that they understand that yes, this is the kind of the pedagogies and the methods they have to adopt, and the conferences and the lectures are also very important in this regard. So it not only helps in optimizing the cost, but yes, so many participants as the trainees can be benefited out of it. Then we have another off the job training which is called as a vestibule training. This is a kind of a training program which is conducted away from the real work conditions. As the name suggests, it is an off the job training. And in this vestibule training permits the employees to get a feel of doing a task devoid of the real work pressures, and under this method a similar atmosphere is formed like the actual job conditions. So there is a very good exposure in terms of the real situations are what they are supposed to handle. So the similar positions are created here, and overall there is a benefit beneficial aspects in terms of the vestibule training. So the trainees are actually free, they are free of confusion, and they are off from the pressure of the actual working conditions. This method is less time consuming due to better concentration by the trainees and the specialist training. So these are the possible benefits of the vestibule training. Then coming on to the other methods, that is the role playing. Role playing is basically given a particular role to an individual which he is supposed to do. So if he's a kind of an empathetic attitude is created and a situation is given to him as if he's actually a manager or actually a worker accordingly. So the role playing is a very important aspect because he would start feeling that he's actually a manager or a human resource in this regard. So this is again a very good method of giving an empathetic attitude, through an empathetic attitude, a kind of a real training to them. Next is your business games. Business games are again given some kind of case studies to them, giving some kind of a strategic instructions to them that if this happens, this is how you have to go about, and if this happens, this is the method which you have to follow. So then a kind of an apprenticeship training is also given to them. This is the oldest method of imparting training to them, and this also helps in employees in acquiring valuable skills under a very fixed stipulated period of time, and it combines the theoretical and the practical training both to them. So we can see some kind of demerits of the apprenticeship training, that this is a very time consuming and a very expensive method, and this method does not ensure a job security to the employees, that once an apprenticeship training is given to them, only the training aspect is given to them, and now the worker or the employee or the trainee is well equipped with this is how you have to handle. But yes, there is no job security in this regard, that after the completion of this kind of a training program you would be given this kind of an assignment. No. So this is the only shortcoming which we can see in the apprenticeship training. Then we are having another method called a sensitivity training, is also referred to as a laboratory or a T group training. This method helps the employees in understanding themselves and the others, and it is done by developing the social understanding and the behavioral flexibility in them. It develops an ability to sense what others think about their own point of view. It discloses the information about employees, their own personal qualities and emotional issues, and the trainers, they tries to clarify the group process using the incidents and the examples to illuminate the general points. So you have seen in this kind of a training program, so many questions are given to them, all the problems are solved so that the individuals are having a very conceptual clarity in this regard. So the last point which I am going to highlight here is how you have to design a training program. So first you have to determine the needs of the employees, that what kind of needs are there for the employees for which the training and the development program is to be organized. Then you have to select the target group. You have to divide the people according to the types of the training they need, followed by you have to prepare the trainers, and you have to have a one-to-one interaction with them, that this is the kind of the training and this is the kind of the people which we are looking for, and this is the kind of a training sessions we are striving for, and these are the particular needs of the people which you have to fulfill, which you have to accomplish after the devising of the program. Then you have to formulate the training packages which are tailor-made. You have to give some kind of a presentation to the trainer, followed by a follow-up, that is you have to see whether the training programs which have been devised and designed and actually presented in front of the employees, that what is the benefit out of that training program. That's called as a follow-up. That is whether the training programs which have been conducted in this regard, is there any benefit or the outcomes or the takeaways from to the employees, and if the answer is yes, you would be continuing giving such kind of endeavors for the organization to achieve more objectives, to take the organizational to the organizational achievement path only, not as a non-achiever. Thank you so much.
With this note, thank you ma'am, thank you so very much, and dear friends, thank you for listening to us. If you want to access the lectures on the series which we are conducting lectures continuously, that is the human resource management, then you can access all the lectures which are uploaded for you on YouTube. Your feedback are welcome. We would be meeting again very soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you ma'am, thank you so very much.